For me, there's nothing quite like stepping out into the fresh air, feeling the sun on my face, and getting my hands dirty amongst the plants. It's a kind of therapy, a way to connect with nature and feel truly grounded. But gardening is not just about beauty and tranquility. It's also about understanding the delicate balance of life that exists within those borders. And sometimes that balance is threatened by unwanted guests, weeds, and pests that can wreak havoc on our beloved plants. Now, I'm not one for harsh chemicals. I believe in working with nature, not against it. So today, I want to share some of my favorite natural ways to control weeds and pests, ensuring your garden remains a haven for the good guys. One of the simplest and most effective ways to keep weeds at bay is by using mulch. Think of it as a cozy blanket for your soil, locking in moisture and preventing those pesky weed seeds from ever seeing the light of day. When I say mulch, I mean organic matter like garden compost, shredded bark, or straw. Spread a layer about 2 to 3 inches deep around your plants, but not against the stems. Mulch suppresses weeds, improves soil structure, and helps regulate soil temperature. Plus, it gives the garden a neat and tidy appearance. I particularly like using homemade compost as mulch. It's like returning the goodness extracted from the earth back to its source. There's something deeply satisfying about completing the cycle, from garden waste to rich, fertile compost. If you're using bark chippings, choose a variety that breaks down slowly. This ensures a longer-lasting weed barrier and gradual nutrient release into the soil. And remember, as the mulch decomposes, it will need topping up. For a vegetable garden, straw makes an excellent mulch, especially around thirsty crops like courgettes and pumpkins. It helps retain moisture, keeps the fruits clean, and adds a lovely, rustic charm to the plot. Remember, the key to successful mulching is to apply it generously and consistently. Don't skimp on the coverage, and your garden will reward you with fewer weeds and healthier plants. Now here's a trick I learned years ago, and it's particularly useful for tackling stubborn weeds in new beds or pathways. It involves using something most of us have lying around the house: cardboard boxes. Yes, you heard that right. Old cardboard boxes can be a gardener's secret weapon. Simply lay down a few boxes directly onto the soil, overlapping them slightly to prevent any gaps. Then, give them a good soak with the hose, ensuring they're thoroughly wet. The wet cardboard boxes act as a barrier, blocking light from reaching the weeds below. Without sunlight, they can't photosynthesize, and eventually, they wither away. It's a simple yet surprisingly effective method. For added effectiveness, once the boxes are down, cover it with a layer of mulch, just as we discussed earlier. This not only helps keep the cardboard boxes in place, but also speeds up the decomposition process, turning it into valuable organic matter. I find this technique particularly useful when establishing new planting areas. It suppresses existing weeds, giving your desired plants a fighting chance to establish strong root systems without competition. Plus, it's a great way to recycle old cardboard boxes, giving them a new lease on life in the garden. Just be sure to use cardboard boxes printed with vegetable-based ink, as petroleum-based inks can contain harmful chemicals. So next time you're about to toss those cardboard boxes into the recycling bin, consider giving them a second life as a weed barrier in your garden. You'll be amazed by its effectiveness and the satisfaction of turning trash into a valuable gardening tool. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Hand weeding? Isn't that a bit tedious? And while I'll admit it's not the most glamorous of gardening tasks, there's something incredibly satisfying about getting down on your hands and knees and really connecting with the soil. Besides, sometimes the old ways are the best. Hand weeding allows you to target specific weeds without disturbing the surrounding plants. It's a precise and gentle approach, ideal for delicate seedlings or closely planted beds. The best time to hand weed is after a good rain shower when the soil is moist and pliable. Those pesky weeds will slide out with minimal effort, roots and all. If the ground is dry, give it a good soak the day before you plan to weed. Now, I'm not suggesting you spend hours on end hunched over your flower beds. Break the task down into manageable chunks, focusing on one area at a time. Put on some music, listen to a podcast, or simply enjoy the peace and quiet of your garden as you work. And here's a little tip. Don't let those weeds go to waste. If they're not harboring any diseases or pests, toss them in your compost bin. They'll decompose and turn into valuable nutrients for your garden. Hand weeding is also a fantastic opportunity to observe your plants up close. You'll notice any signs of pests or diseases early on, allowing you to take action before they become major problems. So embrace the therapeutic nature of hand weeding. It's a chance to slow down, appreciate the intricacies of your garden, and connect with nature on a deeper level. Now let's talk about companion planting. It's an age-old technique that involves strategically planting different species together for mutual benefit, and one of its most remarkable benefits is natural pest control. You see, some plants emit strong scents that deter certain insects. For instance, marigolds are renowned for repelling aphids, whiteflies, and even some harmful nematodes. Plant them amongst your vegetables and you'll create a natural barrier against these common garden pests. Basil is another fantastic companion plant. Its pungent aroma deters tomato hornworms, whiteflies, and aphids, making it an ideal companion for tomatoes, peppers, and other vegetables. Plus, it adds a delicious flavor to your dishes. Other beneficial pairings include planting chives near carrots to deter carrot root flies, garlic near roses to ward off aphids and black spot, and lavender amongst your cabbages to repel cabbage white butterflies. The key to successful companion planting is research. Spend some time understanding the specific pests that plague your garden and the plants that can help deter them. There's a wealth of information available online and in gardening books. Not only does companion planting offer natural pest control, but it can also improve pollination, attract beneficial insects, and even enhance the flavor of your crops. It's a holistic approach to gardening that promotes biodiversity and a healthy ecosystem. So, embrace the power of companion planting and turn your garden into a haven for beneficial insects while keeping those pesky pests at bay. Now let's talk about the good guys, the beneficial insects that are essential for a thriving garden. These tiny creatures are like your own personal pest control crew, working tirelessly to keep those harmful critters in check. One of the most well-known beneficial insects is the ladybug. These charming little beetles are voracious predators of aphids, mealybugs, and other soft-bodied insects. A single ladybug can consume thousands of aphids in its lifetime. Praying mantises are another formidable ally in the garden. They have an insatiable appetite for a wide range of pests, including grasshoppers, caterpillars, and even small rodents. Their camouflage skills and lightning-fast reflexes make them highly effective hunters. Lacewings, with their delicate wings and golden eyes, might look fragile, but their larvae are fierce predators of aphids, spider mites, and whiteflies. They're particularly beneficial in greenhouses and conservatories. To attract these beneficial insects to your garden, provide them with food, water, and shelter. Plant a diversity of flowering plants that provide nectar and pollen. Install a shallow water source like a bird bath with stones for landing, and avoid using pesticides that can harm them. You can also purchase beneficial insects online or from garden centers to release into your garden. This is a great way to give your pest control efforts a boost, especially if you're dealing with a particularly heavy infestation. Remember, a healthy garden is a balanced ecosystem. By welcoming beneficial insects, you're creating a harmonious environment where nature can take care of itself. Even with the best preventative measures, you might encounter pests. Consider natural alternatives that are effective and gentler on your garden. A simple homemade spray is soapy water. Mix liquid Castile soap with water and spray it on plants. It dehydrates soft-bodied insects like aphids and spider mites. Neem oil disrupts insect hormones, preventing feeding and reproduction. Mix neem oil with soap and water and spray on affected plants. Garlic spray repels insects like aphids and whiteflies. Blend garlic with water, strain, and add to a spray bottle. Add dish soap to help the spray adhere to leaves. Test sprays on a small area first to avoid adverse reactions. Spray in the early morning or late evening to protect beneficial insects. Prevention is better than cure. Mulching, hand weeding, and companion planting create a resilient garden. So there you have it, my top tips for naturally controlling weeds and pests in your garden. Remember, gardening is all about working with nature, not against it. By embracing these natural methods, you'll create a thriving ecosystem that's both beautiful and productive. Don't be afraid to experiment and find what works best for your garden. Every garden is unique, and the joy of gardening lies in the journey of discovery. And remember, even the most experienced gardeners encounter challenges along the way. It's all part of the learning process. So get out there, get your hands dirty, and enjoy the incredible rewards of nurturing a healthy and abundant garden. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found these tips helpful. Let's keep our gardens green and clean together. Happy gardening!